Do y'all be watching TikTok? Cause I stay on TikTok. Like I be kind of embarrassed about how much I stay on TikTok. Like I be on TikTok all the time. I use it as Google. I use it as a recipe finder. I be watching Crime Stoppers, and then don't let me run across somebody's funeral, cause y'all be doing it. Like I run across somebody's funeral, and then I gotta find their name, and then I gotta find out the family, then I gotta find out how the family feel, and I gotta find out when the funeral was, and then I gotta find out if they found the person who did it, because I'm invested, and now I'm on a rabbit hole. Now it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I need to go to bed, and I need to go to work. But long story short, I'm addicted to TikTok. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm addicted to TikTok. And then I be watching these kids dance on TikTok, and I can't do that. I can't do that. It's not in my ministry to move my body like that. Whatever happened to the butterfly, the Tootsie Roll, the cabbage patch? Like, I can do those things. I can't do these TikTok dances. I can't even get sturdy standing on my kitchen chair to reach the top shelf. Better yet, in a TikTok video. And I be trying, because, you know, I just can't. Anyway, there's a TikTok trend. And the trend is like, what is one small, unimportant decision that changed the entire trajectory? Y'all, I got a list. I just got Invisalign not too long ago. So some of these words, if they sound like that, it's because my list is still healing. What is one small, unimportant decision that changed the entire trajectory, hanging there with me now, of your life, right? And I like that little trend, because I got a story. And mine was allowing my ex to tell me happy birthday. And I know, y'all like, what? What your ex telling you happy birthday got to do with anything? Well, let me explain, okay? It was 2006. It was 2006. And I had not spoken or dealt with this man since the year before. And he called me on my birthday, and he asked me, could he wish me a happy birthday? Now, here's the important part that you need to understand, is that I had this man blocked. So I don't even remember, but I'm sure he called from a number that I did not recognize, and that's how he got through. But he asked me, could he wish me a happy birthday? And I'm like, oh, it's my birthday. You know, it's your birthday, so you want all the birthday love. So I'm like, yeah, you can wish me a happy birthday. And then he was like, well, can I take you out? This is where we gotta pause, because he didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So taking me out meant I was gonna be spending my own money, taking myself out really, but it was my birthday and I wanted some attention. So I said yes. And to be young, dumb, and naive all over again. But I know y'all really want to know how that happy birthday changed my life. Or what any of this has to do with meeting Jay, because that's the title of the episode. So you want to know, let's go ahead and talk about it. Welcome to the Breed Black Mom Podcast, where moms of color can come to relax, relate, and release. I'm your host, T. And if you've been listening up until this point, welcome back. Hey, y'all. And thank you for continuing on this journey with me. We are in episode 2, and you all get to finally meet, hear about, and eventually hear from the kiddos who call me mommy. We are kicking it off with the one who gave me the title mom, the oldest, the one I like to refer to as the teenager, aka one of my thorns in my side, aka Jay. Okay. In this part, you're going to hear from me. But in part 2, you're going to actually hear from her. And you'll get to hear, what it's like for her to be my kid. Yeah, I'm a little nervous about that. But before we jump into that, if you haven't already, please follow the Breed Black Mom Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on YouTube. I never in a million years thought I would be on a YouTube, and I'm on Apple Podcasts, and I'm on Spotify. So wherever you're listening from or listening through, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, y'all, because that is how the numbers will go up. That is how I'll be able to produce more content for you, and we can rock and roll on this thing together. So also don't forget to leave a review. Tell the people if you're liking this or not. And really, the people are that's me. I'm the people, right? just don't want to say tell me, but tell the people, because there are other people listening, but it's me too. So let us know if you've enjoyed what you're hearing so far by leaving a review. You don't even gotta write nothing. Just hit the little stars, like 1 star, I don't like that. 0 stars, won't recommend. 5 stars, I liked it. Okay, tell me. That way I know. Okay. So yeah, do that. And I know y'all really don't want to hear this little bit that I'm doing. You really want to hear about my child, because that's why you're here. So let's go ahead and talk about Jay. Now, I really wanted to tell y'all this story, as it came out of, my typing when I was writing my little notes. But my sister and my husband said that I sounded like I was reading y'all a book on a Kindle, and that ain't what we going for here. I mean, it's a podcast and we talking. So I just got to tell the story, like the story happened. So I found out I was pregnant with Jalen when I was a sophomore in college at the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, the greatest and the number 1 HBCU in the nation.
Aggie Pride!
Sorry, I had to give honor where honor was due first. Like giving honor to God, giving honor to the North Carolina A&T. Okay, focus. I was a sophomore. I was about 2 weeks away from celebrating my 20th birthday. It was March 30th, 2006, and I will never forget that day. And let me tell you why I will never forget that day. You know how people say, I'll never forget this day, I'll never forget that. And you know how, even you know how there are certain memories you have in your childhood, you just don't forget them, right? Like, those are your core memories. Y'all ever seen Inside Out? And they talk about the core memories that they store, like, in the basement of your mind, and you just never forget those. Like, you never forget that I wore my red sweater on that Christmas where I got my Barbie house. Yeah, those kind of memories. Like, that's how that day felt. But the other thing that can cause or trigger a memory that sticks in your head like that is a trauma response. Yeah, a trauma response. It is a trauma response to hold, like, every single detail of a memory in your mind. And in therapy, we like to call trauma either a big T trauma or a little T trauma. And it's just depending on how you categorize your situation, because for different people and different circumstances, trauma can be defined in different ways. I would consider the circumstances surrounding learning how I conceived Jay and the concurrent events that took place during her pregnancy a bit traumatic for me. Yeah, we'll get to that. But it was March 30th, 2006, y'all. And like I said, I remember everything about that day. Like, I remember the plans I had with my friends that evening. I remember how the furniture was positioned in the room, because here's the thing. The appointment took place at the health department. I was in the college. I don't know why I didn't go to the student health center. I don't know why I didn't go to Sebastian. I think at the time Sebastian was kind of taboo. You didn't go there. We didn't have the nice little fancy health center they have right now at A&T. Sebastian was a little hole in the wall. I think I was scared. But either way, I had called this health department in December. Now, mind y'all, I just said I found out in March. I called them in December for the appointment. That's the irony of this story. I called in December because I wanted me some birth control. Okay? And my appointment was in March. But we're going to come back to that. So I was telling y'all I remember every little thing, and I do. I even remember what I had on, y'all. Like, the details of my outfit. Because, first of all, back then, if you knew me, you couldn't tell me nothing because I already thought I was fly. But I had on this 2-piece cream colored corduroy set. Like, I got a picture for proof if y'all need I have the picture, because I have the picture. I had on a 2-piece corduroy pantsuit with a little jacket, and I had on a brown sleeveless turtleneck under it. I had some brown boots. And the reason I know this is because while I was sitting there waiting for the nurse to come back, I was taking pictures, selfies on my little cell phone. I had a Suncom flip phone. If you don't remember Suncom, are you even old enough to be listening right now? Girl, I had that blue and silver Suncom flip phone, and I was taking pictures. And I had my little doobie wrap and my little part on the side. If you knew T back in the day, you knew T was known for her rap, baby. And it was laid. It was laid because in my mind, we about to go out. We dressed, we feeling good. So yeah, I remember it all like it was yesterday. So like I told y'all, the crazy part is I scheduled this appointment back in December of 2005 to get birth control. Okay, I was being a good little celibate girl at the time. It was perfect. I was like, 3 months, that ain't nothing. Like, I ain't doing nothing, you know. I ain't in nobody's face or nothing. But you know, God, he be having jokes, and I really do think he should do stand up sometimes, because he's funny. I went to that appointment. I was fully confident. I was like, I'm about to be out here, you know, being a young adult, not having consequences of being a young adult, and yeah, I was confident. The nurse was cool. You know, she came in, she was like, all right, you know, I know you're here to get birth control, but we got to do some lab work first. And I was like, it's cool, Sarah, we can do that. Now, I don't know that her name was Sarah, but we gonna go with it, because I just need a name for the store. So it's cool, Sarah, we could do labs. It's cool. She was like, is there any possible way you could be pregnant? And I'm like, no, nope. I said it with my chest too. Like, I said it real confident. Be in her laugh, because she was like, oh well, you know, you're out. Yeah, girl, I'm pretty sure, like, let's go. But she told me, like, okay, as a precaution, we got to do a test anyway. And I was like, all right, cool, I ain't got nothing to worry about. She did her little labs and peed in the cup and did that. She came back to the room not long after that, and she was like, hey, remember when I asked you if there was any possibility that you could be pregnant? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, and she done positioned herself on the counter because she knew she was about to rock my world. She was like, it could be way early, but I'm pretty positive that you're pregnant, because we have a lot of false negatives, but we very rarely have false positives. And I just froze. Baby, I was stuck. And I was like, you could have brought me for a penny in that moment. You could have said whatever you wanted to me. You could have did whatever you wanted to do to me in that moment, because I was stuck. And I just stared at Sarah for the longest, like, what are you saying to me? She was saying all these words, and it was all of a sudden foreign, because I didn't know what she was talking about. And I was just kind of nodding at her and looking at her. And really, I was looking through her, because I don't know what you're saying to me. And she asked me, do you want me to help you call the father or your parents? And I'm like, no, because at this point, Sarah, you're in my business, and I don't like that. Get out my business. No, I got that man on block. We is not calling him. Y'all, my mind was racing. It was racing. And I know we left the room. I don't remember it. I barely remember that walk from the room to their pharmacy. And she handed me this Costco-sized bottle of prenatal vitamins. Like, why are the prenatal vitamins so big and ridiculous? Like, I don't even think I took those vitamins, but she gave it to me. And she gave me this yellow piece of paper. And for the record, I'm a hoarder. I still have that piece of paper, but she gave me this yellow piece of paper. It's in my baby's baby book, with pregnant on it. She kept talking to me, and she was saying all these things, and it was foreign to me at this point, because the only thing I could make out was pregnant. She just said that you're pregnant. That's it. That's all I had. My mind was racing, and I'm trying to do the math, because the math won't math, and 2 and 2 together equal a whole entire baby. And then I remembered, oh my God, my birthday. So remember when I told y'all that when I allowed him to call, it changed everything? So like I mentioned, I had not talked to him, seen him, spoken to him since either September or October, one of the months of the previous year. Now, I had been dating this guy, T, during that time. We had went on a couple of dates, but we weren't doing nothing. Like, we weren't involved sexually, anything like that. The last person I had been involved with was my ex. Except the one night, my birthday, the night he called. And that's when it happened. My math started mathing, and I was like, well, happy birthday to you. You know, you took yourself out for your birthday, but I guess this was the gift that he gave that was going to keep on giving. I sat in my car in the parking lot for, I know, another hour before I pulled out. I was just sitting there staring. And I know what some of y'all thinking. See, how you out here, you acting all reckless, and you don't know that there could be consequences to you acting reckless. Well, clearly, first of all, I knew there was consequences, because I'm up here telling Sarah I need birth control. And I took health class like the rest of y'all, so I know how babies are made. But there's more to this story. And for the record, put this on the record, I wasn't reckless. I did use protection. He shared some stuff with me later that explained a lot. But that's a story for another episode. Maybe even another season. We'll get there. But I was not reckless. First person I called was my best friend. All I said was, girl, guess what? And she was like, you pregnant. I don't even know how she knew. Like, it wasn't like we was talking about this, or, you know, like I was like, hey girl, I think I'm pregnant. Nothing. Like, I don't know, maybe it was my tone, or, you know, she's known me since I was 12. Maybe she just knew something was off, something out of the ordinary. But she knew. She called it, and I confirmed it. And then I broke down crying. I was just on the phone crying. I was about to go to McDonald's to the drive-thru, but I was crying so bad I won't be able to talk to them, so I just pulled back over in the parking space, and I'm just crying. And she was like, friend, like, you upset? She was like, are you upset? Because if you happy, I'll be happy, but if you upset, I'm gonna be upset. And shout out to my friend, because she was so supportive in that moment. And y'all, she talked me through that initial shock, and, you know, she just reassured me, it's gonna be okay, I got your back, you know, your family gonna have your back, it's okay, T, like, you gonna be okay. And she kept her word, for sure. Like, that's my baby's godmama, and shout out to her, that's my girl. So after I spoke to her, I went on back to my dorm room, because I'm like, all right, I gotta tell my family next. And that was gonna be the next hardest part. So when I got home, I told her dad first. It was pretty simple, pretty uneventful, nothing exciting about it, because he won't surprise. And after I found out what he did, I realized why it wasn't a shock to him. Easy breezy. The next place I went was to my Nana's house. Now, here's the thing about Nana that you got to know. Is a few weeks prior to this, my Nana used to call me in the mornings, or I used to call her in the mornings when I was walking to class. And she had called me one morning, and I was on my way to chemistry at 8 o'clock in the morning. Everybody had time for her shenanigans at 8 o'clock in the morning. And she called me and she said, T, she said, my spirit is telling me that you pregnant. And let me tell you something. I had to let her know that morning. Her spirit was deceiving her. I don't know whose ghost she was talking to that morning, but it wasn't the Holy Ghost. Because I was like, Nana, I am not pregnant. And we had a good old chuckle. And we ain't talk about it no more. Because I was like, ma'am, absolutely not. No. I'm not pregnant. Absolutely not. So when I showed up at her house that evening, at the doorstep crying, tears in my eyes, you know, she just opened her arms and she said, I knew it. I knew you were pregnant. But she went on, she reassured me, it's going to be okay. And to know my Nana, that's the funny part, to know my Nana, you had to understand that me, T, I could do nothing wrong in her eyes. So her biggest concern won't even be being pregnant. Her biggest concern was who had the audacity to get her baby pregnant, as if I didn't participate. I swear, y'all, I think my grandma, Lord rest her soul, I think she went to her grave believing that was like my first time. My first time, and I got pregnant on the first time. I mean, bless her heart. Listen, that was her. I ain't never told her no mess like that, but that's just who she was, and I miss her so much. But yeah, told my Nana. Spent the night with Nana. The next morning, she sent me on my way to go tell my mama. And the fear I had in telling my mom wasn't that I felt I was going to be rejected or anything like that, because my mom was and still is super supportive, right? The fear was in the disappointment. My mom had me at 19 and she gave up a lot to support and raise me because she was the GOAT. I mean, she didn't go to prom because of me. My mom didn't get to walk across the stage when she graduated because of me. So she had a lot of sacrifices, and she worked so hard at being able to see me and my sisters, you know, do better in life and things like that. I just didn't want to disappoint her. And as much as I knew she was going to be supportive, I also knew that she didn't want to see me make the same sacrifices she had to make or go through what she had to go through as a young single mom. But after I told her, the first thing she said to me was, you're going to finish school. That literally was her first response. You're going to finish school. Like, she wanted to know that you're going to finish school. And she made sure that happened, and that made sense for that to be her first response, considering what I just said above. You know, my mom wanted me to finish what I started. And she made sure that happened. She also reassured me, just as my Nana did and my best friend did, that life wasn't over and that all would be well and that she would have my back every step of the way. And she did. Now, she wasn't thrilled about who I was pregnant by, and she made that very clear. And that was also very understandable considering the circumstances. The relationship between Jay's dad and I was toxic, to say the least. At least on this episode, to say the least. And it only got worse when I started carrying her. Like, a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, some fights that took place. And I didn't know nothing about carrying no child, y'all. Like, my mama and that book, What to Expect When Expecting, that they still sell, that, I mean, that book is the bomb. So if you expecting or know somebody expecting, like, the book is the bomb. That is what coached me through my pregnancy. And at that time, my mom wasn't privy to the extent of just how bad the relationship between him and I was. But she was aware that it was unhealthy. I mean, she would hear some of the verbal arguments and the back and forth and me crying and all the things that took place. And I remember one of the things my mom used to always tell me during that time was that Jay could feel everything that I felt. She would warn me, like, T, you need to be careful with all this arguing and, you know, what you're subjecting yourself to and how intense your emotions are becoming, because she can feel that. She used to tell me that all the time. She used to be mad too. She can feel that. You know, she used to be mad. And I was subjecting my baby to all of this in my belly, you know, the fighting, the yelling. I spent a lot of time upset while I was pregnant with her. Yeah, and my mom was saying, like, she knows and she can hear, you know, she can hear what's going on outside of here and she can feel what you're feeling. So you need to pipe down, pretty much. Did I listen to her? Of course not. I did not listen to her. I was 20. I knew more than she knew, even though ain't never carried a child and she had carried 3 at that point. But, you know, to be young and dumb, like I said, I didn't listen. My pregnancy was pretty dark. I cried a lot. I sulked a lot. I never want to leave the house. I just wanted to be up under my mama. And that's where I spent majority of my time while I was pregnant with my mom. I didn't want to do nothing. And if I did go out, I was somewhere engaged in foolishness or running behind foolishness as it concerned her dad. And anytime that foolishness would occur, my poor baby would tense and tighten up so bad in my belly. I've carried 3 kids at this point and I've never experienced nothing like that. Like, she would ball up and, like, I don't know, run to different sides of my belly and just stay there and like this really, really tight ball. And it was like she was trying to escape the war that was going on with us outside by tucking away somewhere safe inside. As crazy as that sounds, because she would, every time there was an argument or yelling or screaming, she would just ball up really, really tight and just stay in one spot. And it was painful. My mom was the only person who could rub my belly and talk to my belly. And she would just be trying to coax Jay out of the positions that she was buried in. And, you know, she would talk to him like, it's okay, baby. And sometimes she would be right under my ribs. And if y'all ever carried a baby, and you ever had a baby under your ribs, Jesus, it hurts so bad. And I would just cry. And I started learning that, you know, my mama was right, first of all. And that the more I relaxed, she would relax. And as I mentioned in my previous episode, and you'll find out a little more why, but every last one of my babies are who they were as I carried them in my belly. Like, when you're pregnant, you have this rhythm with the baby that you don't recognize. And although I didn't intend to, I was young. My first time being pregnant, I was in a situation that I shouldn't have been in while pregnant. I was imprinting on my baby. I was imprinting fear on her, worry, anxiety. She hadn't even met this world yet, and she was scared. She was scared of the world, and she hadn't even said hello to the world yet. My labor with Jay was a beast. Going back to big T, little T trauma, that was probably a big T trauma. Her labor was not easy. And it was my first time, so I was scared to death. None of my labors were easy, and we'll hear about those, you know, in other episodes, but this was my first experience with labor. So naturally, I'm scared. I'm terrified. The contractions started around 7 a.m. on December 5th. You know, woke my mom up. She took me to the hospital, and I'm scared. I've never felt anything like this before. It hurts. I don't do pain well, so yeah, I'm scared. I didn't know what to expect. Like, I read the book, I told y'all, my mom was telling me the things, but I really didn't know what to expect. I watched A Baby Story. I used to watch A Baby Story all the time. Y'all remember that show? They still play that, A Baby Story. I used to watch that all the time, but and they used to scare me on that show. But you know, you just don't know what to expect till you're in the situation, okay? And I was contracting for hours, right, with no dilation. Like, I know, like every 3 minutes, however long it is, but I wasn't dilating. So that caused the hospital to say, hey, here's some Pitocin. If you don't know what Pitocin is, first of all, let's stop and thank your God, praise your Jesus, because you don't want to know what Pitocin is. And when they gave me the Pitocin, that made the contractions out of this world. I just told y'all I don't do pain well, so I was, hey, garçon, whoever, bring me the medicine for, where is it? I wanted the epidural. Stick me in my back. Do whatever you got to do, because I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. Automatically opted for the epidural. Bring it. I want it. 7 times. You heard me. 7 times they stuck me with this epidural. 7. Okay, I still have the scars on my back. Until my mama, well, it was 6 times first. Okay, they stuck me 6 times. The first guy, he couldn't get it. My mom made him stop, because again, first baby, don't know no better. All I know is it hurt, and I wanted to stop hurting. So if this man got to keep going in and out my back with this needle, even though I could feel this needle on my spine, I don't care. I just want the pain to stop. My mama made him stop, because clearly he didn't know what he was doing. And at the time, my mom worked at that hospital. She was like, go get somebody else, because you don't know what you was doing. Called the little man at home who was asleep on call. He got it first try. Boom, we got the epidural. We ain't in pain no more. I started pushing at 12 a.m. I pushed for 2.5 hours because she was stuck under my pelvic bone, and instead of coming down, she was just spinning. And eventually, you know, they tried all the things. They made me pull on the sheet. They made me sit up. It was a mess. It was a mess. I was throwing up. I was sweating. It was bad. At one point, her father came over there to try to console me, and I looked over there and I said, oh, not you. Where's my mama? It was bad, y'all. I was exhausted. Pushed for 2.5 hours. They eventually had to vacuum her out, which resulted in me having 3rd-degree tears, right? You know, like 3rd-degree burns. 3rd degree is the worst tear you can have. I'm going to spare y'all the details. Just know it was bad. And it took another 2.5 hours of them, quote unquote, repairing to put all the things back together again, like Humpty Dumpty. Like, it was bad. But it was all worth it in the end, because I finally got to meet this 8-pound, 4-ounce, beautiful chocolate baby girl. She looked just like a little Cabbage Patch doll. Round little face, chubby little cheeks. And oh my God, everything changed in that moment. Everything. Because up until that point, I never even believed I had one maternal bone in my body. Like, I couldn't even change a diaper. My mom used to make me practice changing a diaper on a Tickle Me Elmo that my sisters had. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was not the person. I wasn't the person who would be like, hey, you know, you want somebody to watch your kids, bring them to me. That wasn't me. So I didn't have any experience with babies and kids, and no, I was very selfish. You know, I was living my little 20-year-old life for me. Like, and this another person, I gotta take care of another person. So I was very shocked when it's like everything kicked in. It's like she came, I saw her, and I was a mom. I am a mom. And I remember being like amazed that the nursery wasn't too far from my room, and she was crying. And I remember saying, is that her? And it was her. And I was like, oh my God, I knew my baby's crying. Like, I'm really a mom. I'm a mom. Like, oh. But for real, like, this kid, she literally changed everything, and she saved my life. She did. She saved my life. Now, Jay was the first everything when she was born. She was my first child. She was my mom's first grandchild, and she was the first niece to my sisters. Now, spoiled, Spoiled is an understatement. You know, people say, oh, babies aren't spoiled, they're loved. And that's true, but this child she was spoiled, okay? She was very well loved. She was not lacking in any needs. I mean, she had all the hugs, the loves, the kisses, the attention, the jewelry, and the Jordans that a little person can ask for. And why she needed all those shoes and things when she was a baby, I don't know. But I quickly learned my lesson with my other two kids because it was pretty ridiculous. My village was vital in helping to raise her. My mom, of course, my sisters, my now husband, who I started dating when Jay was 6 months. I know y'all like, what? Y'all tell y'all story later. Keep coming back. They were all vital players in the support that was necessary to raise her, and I needed them, and they were there. Jay was your average only child. You know, she loved Dora, she loved the Backyardigans and Hello Kitty. She was really smart as a kid. She spent a lot of time teaching me the things she would learn throughout the day. Mommy, do you know what an amphibian is? And one day she showed me how to tie a noose. A noose. I blame my husband for that one, but yeah, a noose. She used the words noose too. It was a little disturbing. She had a very vivid imagination too. Like, she had a lot of imaginary friends when she was little. Charlotte and Lucy are the most memorable ones, and I would have to tell her it's either them or me, because oftentimes me and this kid would be home alone and she would be arguing with Charlotte and Lucy and running in the kitchen. Mommy, Lucy won't share the ball. And it was problematic because I can't see Lucy or Charlotte. Like, where they at? And why are you crying? Like, it was problematic, y'all. Like, oh. And then it was one time she had a whole litter. I don't even know how many of them it was, but it was a litter of imaginary puppies, okay? Because I'm scared of dogs, and she ain't getting one. They're never getting one. But she had a whole litter of imaginary puppies, and they had to go with us everywhere. Everywhere. The puppies went everywhere. I don't know how many it was. I don't know what kind of puppies they were, but they went with us everywhere, and you better had held the door open for all of them and let her snap all of them in the seatbelt, and it was interesting, y'all. Very, very vivid imagination. The other thing about her was, you know, she discovered her love for the arts really early as a kid. She liked to dance and sing, and she started dancing like officially when she was 5. When she was in elementary school, her teachers used to say she wrote the most creative stories, and she soon discovered she was really skilled at drawing, and as an artist. And she got that talent, honest, from her mama. I mean, I give her daddy some credit too, because he can draw. So both of us put together and you have an artist. Something that's real unique about her is her phobia of fire. And I'm not talking about a fear, people. I'm talking about a phobia, because I'm not sure that people really understand the difference, right? She doesn't just have a fear, she's phobic. And when you're phobic of something, it is excessive, it is extreme, and a lot of times you'll put your own life in danger to avoid what you're afraid of when you're phobic. And that's her, and it's still true of her today. Like, the girl, she's getting a lot better, we're still working on it, but she is phobic, and I need y'all to understand that about my baby. It is not just a fear, she is phobic. But in a nutshell, when she was a kid, she was a pure joy. She was so sassy and so confident. I mean, we would hype her all the time about her skin and her smile, and people still, y'all still be hyping her, okay? Y'all still be hyping her. She has a gorgeous smile. For those who don't know her, maybe one day I'll post a picture, but right now, I don't know y'all. Y'all don't know me. I ain't ready to put my kids out there yet, but if you know her, you know she's gorgeous, man. She has pretty brown skin. She has a beautiful smile. Even her dentist is like, I'm obsessed with her teeth. And she got that from her daddy. Let me shout out to him. He gave her beautiful, gorgeous teeth. Straight, perfect teeth. And we used to hype her as a kid, you know, pretty. I call her my pretty brown girl. So when you used to give her a compliment when she was a kid, and she's, I know, she was a little cocky, you know, I might have did that, but she was sassy and she was confident. But third grade changed everything. It changed everything, and her personality drastically changed from that little kid I just described. I went from having this bubbly, outgoing kid who, she still had some, you know, some irrational fears. Like, the kid was scared of leaves at one point, and that had a lot to do with me. But really, shout out to my husband, because she wasn't as scary as a kid because of him, because I'm scared of everything. But she still would be willing to try things and pretty much do everything, you know, try everything at least once. You know, she was social, and you know, she sung on a choir and the praise team, and she enjoyed meeting other people. But after 3rd grade, you know, I went from that to having a quiet, timid, and socially anxious kid who even now is very mistrustful of other people, especially her peers, people in her peer group. She has selective confidence. Like, you know, she like to see y'all hyping her up on social media when I post her. And, you know, if she go to school and people say, "Ooh, you cute," it's over for the day, because that's all we gonna hear about. And she also very much overthinks and overanalyzes everything, worst case scenario in every single situation. And now that I think about it, you know, 3rd grade, yes, was the game changer. And I'll share that story later. It's so much to tell y'all, so little time. You just gonna have to keep coming back and tuning in. That's why y'all need to subscribe and like it. But 3rd grade was a game changer. But in hindsight, as I think about it, there are other additional factors that I feel like contributed to that change, like social media, some peer influences, and also her predisposition to anxiety, because that is a thing. Remember, I'm a therapist. That is a thing. And remember, when I told you I carried that anxiety. So she had a predisposition to it. A lot of this is still very much who Jay is today. She's in 11th grade. She's preparing to head to college. We're still working on that social anxiety. We're still working on this phobia fire. It ain't working too much. And we're working on her gaining some more independence as she transitions into adulthood, because she almost there, even though she don't want to. I think she afraid that it hurt or something, but you about to be an adult, baby. This is the year. She is about to be an adult. And she's still very much a joy. She feels safer with her family, so that's when you'll see the quirky, funny, and outgoing side to who she is come out. Like, that's only around like family and people she still feels safe around. If you experience her outside of us, you'll get that quiet, shy, timid version of her. She still loves the arts. Dance, cheer, art are very much a big part of her life. You know, she's winning art competitions. She's been dancing majorette since she was a little girl. She's a current cheerleader. So she's still a lover of the arts, lover of the things, amazing dancer, you know, amazing cheerleader, a bomb artist, for real, like, not even playing. She's better than me at that age. She's really good. But remember when I said she was spoiled? Now this is where the problem comes in, because this is where I created a monster that rears the little ugly head from time to time. This is where she becomes the thorn in my side. And I know for sure, I coddled her far too much. She was my first kid, okay? I ain't know no better. I ain't know what I was doing. And my mommy instincts just said, hey, give her all the things and then protect her from all the things. And especially all the things that she's scared of. Don't let her do that. Don't let her. And I did it. I gave her all the things. I protected her from all the things. And now she don't know none of the things. Nothing. She don't know nothing. And in hindsight, now that she almost grown, I can see where I went wrong. My poor child, she can't cook. Now, I told y'all, in all fairness, she got a phobia of fire, so we wouldn't expect her to cook right now. But she can't cook. She won't even stay home alone. She won't stay home alone. I was staying home alone when I was 10. Not only was I staying home alone at 10, I was watching my sisters. When we all came to the house together, latchkey kids, you turn the lock. Your mama said, don't answer the phone unless it's me, and then she would like trick you and call and be like, why you answer the phone? Because how was I supposed to know it was you? It was confusing. But she don't stay home alone. She won't. She is 17. She will not. She has some trouble with accountability. I think all teenagers do, and also some trouble with entitlement and being ungrateful at times. And Lord knows that the ebbs and flows of navigating teenage years with her, they have been ebbing a lot more times than they've been flowing. But here we are. We in this thing together. And I share with her a lot that it's her first time being a teenager, but it's also my first time mothering one. I'm very honest with her about, girl, I don't know what I'm doing either. Like, you don't know, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, we doing this together, right? And I remember having a conversation with her, even, I think when she hit 13, I don't remember. It was around 13. I was like, listen, this don't have to be hard. Like, we ain't gotta fight. Like, we ain't gotta fight. We ain't gotta argue. Like, let's just make this easy for us. And it ain't always been easy. Like, I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I don't know what these parents doing who have, you know, these great experiences when their teenagers become teenagers, but tell me your ways. Teach me your ways, because this is my first one. And I got 2 more coming behind her. And I think if I survive this one, that the other 2 might be a little safe. But, you know, we navigating this thing together. And I'm doing my best. We're doing our best. Sometimes I feel like my best might be just choking her out sometimes. Like, I think that's, like, some days that's my best. That's all I got. Let me choke her out. Let me do it. Like, let me do it. And then my friends, like, they be having my back. My mama got my back. Like, they'll bail me out. They gonna bail me out. I'm just, cause my child is type, she gonna call 911. Like, she been a little sheltered. Like, she won't raise like I was raised. Like, we'll get to that. I'm kind of on the I am on the gentle parent wave, but I just be wanting her to meet my gangster like one time. I actually be scared for her to meet my gangster, because I'm like, I be telling my husband, like, I'm gonna hurt her if I get her. So sometimes that feels like my best, but you know, other than that, like, sometimes she feel like the homie. You know, she getting a little older, so she feel like the homie sometimes, and she be telling me, "Mommy, you my best friend," and I believe her. Like, I do. You know, she has her ways, but I also appreciate the fact that, you know, she trusts me. So I did something right, y'all. Like, something. Like, she trusts me. She'll tell me, like, I be hearing all the tea. I be hearing all the high school tea. I be hearing all the Instagram tea. I be hearing all the drama. So she gotta trust me. You know, when she's scared, when she's afraid of something, when it's some tea, you know, she tell me. You know, I'm one of the first people that she tells, and I really don't take that lightly. I really feel like, dang, like, you did something right? You did something right. So I think anything else at this point, you know, it's best that you hear it from her. What is her experience like being a teenager? Because being a teenager in 2024 is nothing like it was being a teenager back in the early 2000s. Shout out to us, because we probably were the generation that had the best experience. I am grateful that we weren't, or, you know, we didn't have or were exposed to a lot of the things that they're exposed to now. I can't imagine what it's like being a teenager now, but I'll let her tell y'all that. So I think, you know, it's best that at this point in the story, you hear from her next. So she'll tell you what it's like to be a teenager. She'll tell you what it's like to be my child. Now listen here, I'm gonna need her to not get up on this podcast and embarrass me. Now, I said this is safe and this is transparent, but it's just certain stuff, you know, it's certain stuff you gotta keep in the house. So I don't know what she gonna say. You know, I'm gonna have some questions for her. I don't know what she gonna say to y'all. I might have to vet it. I might have to cut some stuff out, but I'm gonna let her, you know, be her raw and best self, and we gonna see how much of it makes it into her episode. So anyway, be on the lookout for part 2, where you're gonna get to hear from the teenager herself, the pretty brown girl, Jay. And you're going to get to find out more about her. She'll tell y'all about her fire phobia. She'll tell y'all about the irrational thoughts. And she's going to tell y'all about me. I'm going to let her tell y'all about me. I'm going to let her tell y'all about me. Okay? Thanks for listening, y'all. And tuning in. Before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe through whatever streaming platform you are listening from today. Make sure you follow Breathe Black Mom, the podcast, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. So that way you can get your announcement. You'll get show updates. You'll know when the next episode is dropping. And lastly, don't forget to leave a review. Tell the people if you like this or not. Who are the people? Who I say the people was. The people is me. I'm the people. Okay? It's me. It's me. I'm the people. And then it's the people who don't know me, right? And some of y'all know me. A lot of y'all listening to this right now, y'all know me. So if you know me and you want the people to know me, you gotta like it so that they know you know me and you can like vouch for me. Okay? So leave a review. Like 0 stars. I hate it. I don't like it. 5 stars. She was talking about a little something. Like, I'll listen again. Okay, that might be 3. 3 stars is like, she said a little something that I like. I might tune back in. It just depends on what she's talking about next. That's fine. That's fine. Put a 3. 5 stars if you just like, that's my girl. That's my girl, and I'm going to come back and listen, because you also got to meet the other 2. So we've only met Jay at this point. It's 2 more of them. I had too many kids, but that's all, y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all soon. Until then, just breathe.